Ladies and gentlemen, before we get on to the subject at hand, I have a special announcement to make. It seems that James O'Keefe is going to do it again next week as he drops a brand new bombshell about the deep state. Now you can see right here, oh my God, just met with James O'Keefe to view the upcoming bomb James is about to drop on the deep state. The Democrats should be very worried. Here's another one from Charlie Kirk. Oh my goodness, just got exclusive preview of the James O'Keefe latest video. This will change the midterms and the entire conversation about the deep state. He has multiple deep state, high-ranking government officials explaining how they undercut at Donald Trump from within. So next week is going to be an exciting week, and I'll be more than happy to bring you a complete detail as to what's going on as it comes. But today we're starting off with, you'll see here a headline that Dershowitz says Manafort Plea is a big win for Mueller. The White House should be alarmed. That's pretty much what all of the mainstream media is reporting, that this is going to be really devastating for the Trump administration. But the fact of the matter is, it's not. Then we've got this headline. The Mueller investigation is sending people to jail, but not for collusion. Keep in mind, this whole mess started based on, and Mueller's hire was started based on collusion. Collusion with the Russians. Collusion over stealing the election from the Democrats. Then we start looking into the facts, and what we find out is that this is going to be very, very damning for Democrats. What a lot of people don't realize is that Manafort's partners were very high up in the Democratic Party, attorneys, to include Podesta, which was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. This is where it's really going to hurt. Now, I have read the plea agreement, and it is definitely going after somebody, but as we drop down, you'll find out that the documentation that has to do with Manafort's guilty pleas lays out 4 other attorneys who were involved in creating this big network to work with the Ukrainian government. So Manafort was just the point man, that's all. As you read through the documents, what you find out is that Podesta, Mercury, and Skaden are all 3 involved in everything that Manafort just pled guilty to. Podesta being the biggest one. That's directly into the campaign of Hillary Clinton. Another question you have to ask is, because of this, are they trying to find out what involvement Clinton's people had and high-ranking Democrats in this Ukrainian fraud, and are they going to go after them? And the reason I say are they going to go after them, keep in mind that Mueller and his entire team are pro-Hillary, anti-Trump, but you have to remember at this point they've gone 18 months and found nothing in the way of collusion. Even Woodward, when interviewed, he said he spent 2 years looking for collusion and found none. So now all of a sudden Mueller is in the unlikely and unhappy position of trying to figure out how to justify 2 years of investigations over nothing. So is he going to go after Podesta? If he does, under the same charges that he went after Manafort, you have to appreciate that that will let him off the hook. But if he just does a couple of Republicans and has all this data proving that there were Democrats guilty of the same crimes and he does not prosecute, then it's going to look like a political witch hunt. Another interesting fact in this agreement, Manafort is going to turn over all of his assets. Now, in turning over all those assets, the government has basically got him to agree that even if he receives a presidential pardon, that those assets will remain in the hands of the government. Isn't that interesting? Wow. So what we're really starting to see here with all of the emails from the FBI and the DOJ is that it was all a manufactured witch hunt from within the FBI. And as we know, Trump is now going to be declassifying all the information needed to prove the collusion against him. And at the same time he's declassifying this, and we're going to get all this information, we go back to the beginning of this video, and James O'Keefe next week will hit with a big report on the deep state. And you know how he does it. He goes in there, does interviews, and gets all the answers he needs, and they're all going to be on tape. So these individuals that he's interviewed either knowingly wanted the deep state uncovered, and or they are going to be extremely embarrassed and probably lose their job after these tapes become public. But what we're all seeing, what we're all knowing, is that the witch hunt that the media is creating. Let's go back to that headline. The White House should be alarmed. There is nothing to alarm the White House. There has not been one single thing presented to alarm the White House. The media just keeps taking these Democratic talking points and trying to keep the left excited. But when it comes to keeping the left excited, let's take a look at Obama's little tours. You look at those speeches, and what you see is a Democratic Party using Obama to beg Democrats to come to the polls. They are seeing the same thing I pointed out in my Red Wave video. Democrats are fat and happy, and they aren't coming out to vote en masse. Now, there are some states where I think they're still going to. Take Florida, for instance. I think the black community with an African American running for governor is going to bring them out en masse. But all of these African Americans that have been trained that white people are mean, evil, and need to be excommunicated from the USA are not going to be coming out en masse in states where there's white people on the Democratic Party at the head of the ticket. I'm really looking forward to see the media try to ignore O'Keefe's message. And we've already seen, to give you an idea how the media handles different things, Breitbart reported, and they didn't even report, they just showed the Google video. They were the ones who got it. They weren't the first, by the way. They were one of the second or third that got it. They ran the tape in its entirety with no cuts or edits or conversation, and yet CNN was saying, because the tape came from Breitbart, you should take it with a grain of salt. As if Breitbart manufactured it. Go figure. Well, let's see what the media does with O'Keefe next week and those deep state videos. And as I keep reminding you, the deep state, they are fighting fiercely. But with the Trump declassifying their emails and O'Keefe getting one-on-one with high-ranking officials that detail what they're doing, this is all going to blow bad for Democrats, period. Ladies and gentlemen, I will keep you up to date, and I will see you in the next video.